Asuu threatens fresh crisis over no work, no pay. So this issue of Asuu, Ngige, and the federal government, they have not been able to resolve it. Just because they have been sitting at home, they are telling them, if you don't go to work, no salary. And the days they were on strike, they will not be paid for it. But they have been attending negotiations and attending government or official meetings, and that is work for them. All right? But you are saying that if they don't work, you will not pay them. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Asuu is a trade union that should be respected as well. So now you are going ahead now to say no work, no pay for them. Now Asuu has come out to say they are threatening another fresh crisis over no work, no pay. And they are calling it the mother of strikes, that it will be the mother of all strikes. There's a long way to go. So the children at home now for over 8 months will continue to be at home because nothing is actually happening. All right. The Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities, Asuu, has alerted Nigerians about a fresh crisis it claimed would surpass all previous ones in Nigerian universities. All right. To this end, Asuu sought intervention of stakeholders and well-meaning Nigerians to prevail on the federal government to pay members across the country their withheld 8 months' salaries. The chairman of Asuu University of Ilorin branch, Professor Moyosore Ajao, raised the alarm at a special congress of the local branch held at the university's main auditorium. The university's lecturers had staged a solidarity rally within the campus before retiring to the auditorium where they addressed the newsmen on casualization of intellectual workers in Nigeria, prelude to our response. Can you imagine? How can you casualize intellectual? Because that is what they're saying. No work, no pay is casualization. He said, though we have resumed work in our universities, government's ignoble stance of withholding our 8 months' salaries based on its ill-advised policy of no work, no pay is set to trigger fresh crisis. In the coming days, the union will respond by considering to invoke the no work, no pay policy and would abandon the works that have accumulated for those periods which government has falsely claimed through Chris Ngige that our members have not worked. He said members of the public are put on notice again that a fresh crisis which would surpass all previous ones is looming in Nigerian universities, saying the union members would not continue to do free work. He added, our union and its members should not be held responsible for the consequences that its actions in response to the crude wickedness of the Nigerian state would have on all stakeholders. As a law-abiding union, we have heeded the directive of the court which directed that we resume to our duty post while the substantive matter is being heard. However, after resumption from strike and to our utmost dismay, government decided that half salaries be paid to our members for the month of October 2022. This development is unacceptable and will be resisted by our union. The fact is that academics are not casual workers. Only casual workers receive pay prorate. And that is true. So what is happening here is that Asuu is saying they are going to embark on the mother of strikes. All right, all in this issue of no work, no pay implementation by the federal government through Ngige, the Minister of Labor. All right, so we cannot casualize intellectual workers. Right? Lecturers, teachers are intellectual workers, and you cannot casualize them. Right? You cannot say because they were on strike for 8 months, so you're not going to pay them. And even when they resume work in October 2022, you said they should be paid half salary, and you pay them half salary. What are you talking? What are we toying with education in this country? That government don't know what to do to keep the sanctity of education in its own country. And this is actually the bedrock of human development, academics. So why is it that this government is interested in punishing its own workers? The same way state government and some are owing the civil servants as well. Most civil servants don't see their salary. Most civil servants, when they retire, they don't see their gratuity, they don't see their pension. Some die out of frustration. What kind of country is this? Eh? Ngige, that claims to be doctor, and now he grew up. All of the politicians said they went to school. They were tutored by these lecturers. All right, they were tutored by lecturers. They understand the value of education. Some of them, they say they schooled abroad. They saw how educational system works. And meanwhile, when they get into power here in politics in Nigeria, instead of them to replicate what they have experienced abroad in Nigeria to make Nigeria a better place, they will not do it. Rather, what they will do is to start looting and start, how do I put it? Start killing ideas and killing destinies in Nigeria by their actions. How can the government under Ngige say that Asuu will not receive salary for the 8 months they were on strike? Who kept them on strike? How did they go on strike? If you made their demands amicably, would they be on strike? And you're not even considering the fact that being on strike is also affecting the children that are at home. Now we have more Yahoo boys. We have crime going on everywhere. We have more criminals right now. Who are they? If you go and check record, there will be more of those students that have been kept out of school for over 8 months. And right now, a slogan has just come up that education is a scam. Meaning that even when you open the universities, those students will not want to go back to school because they will find a better life. They're making their money from whatever they're doing now, whether it is legitimate or illegitimate. And it still does not bother our government. Still does not bother the APC-led government. Now, this Japa syndrome and the brain drain in Nigeria is also caused by this Asuu strike. Most lecturers in most of the universities have left abroad to go and look for a better life out there. So I'm sure that by the time they're starting as they're starting now, most of them will not come back to classes. All right? The ones that are in Nigeria that have not gone abroad have actually, within the 8 months, discovered better things to do with their lives rather than lecturing. So tell me, is Nigerian government going to employ fresh graduates and new lecturers to start doing this lecture work? Will they be able to start from where other lecturers stopped? All right, because experience, a responsible institution will do everything not to lose its experienced hands in that institution. Unfortunately, Nigerian government does not understand that philosophy. That you don't have to do anything to lose your experienced lecturers. Because it is not easy to train somebody to a level of competency that the worker can work independently unsupervised. It is not easy. So after they have had that experience, now you are now maltreating them, thereby losing them. And you think you can just employ anybody on the street to become a lecturer and the person will just come and hit the ground running as an experienced lecturer. No way. It's not possible. So why this government is adamant to the demands of the lecturers, I still don't understand. So government, from my own observation and analysis, government is architect of academic breakdown in Nigeria. And until we have a responsible government, it's obvious things will never get better. That is the truth. Because right now, it's obvious that we don't have a responsible government and we've never had a responsible government even in the past. We need to have a responsible government for things to start working in this country. And this is just one aspect to the academics. There are several other parastatals and other aspects of Nigerian state that are also suffering different kinds of political, social, and economic diseases that are currently incurable under this kind of government that we have. It's quite unfortunate that we're in this mess. So this is what Asuu is saying, because they've not been paid their 8-month salary, and in October they pay them half salary, prorating their work, or doing no work, no pay, will mean casualization of lecturers' work in Nigeria. They are saying no to that. You cannot casualize intellectual property and intellectual work. You cannot casualize intellectual workers like lecturers. So they are going to embark on the murder of strikes. And they are now trying to alert the populace, trying to alert the public for them to know that this is what is happening and this is what is brewing, and by the time they make that decision, they should not be held responsible, accountable. Government should be held responsible and accountable, because this government is actually showing sign of irresponsibility in the sign of managing the workforce, the productive workforce of the country. It's quite unfortunate. So Asuu has warned. So when it starts, nobody will blame Asuu. So thank you for listening, and let's have your comment below.